Former contestants of MasterChef, how was it? How do you come up with the recipes, and what is something that happens off camera that you would like the audience to see? I'd like to know how the counting down, fake running out of time thing actually plays out. How is it possible that everyone finishes plating up within the last 5 seconds? I once met two winners actually, and they said that they were basically given one massive cookbook that Sty had to memorize from. I met specifically the winner of Season 9. MasterChef producer here. Contestants are sequestered for the duration of the shoot, so when we are not shooting, they have a lot of downtime. So we have a large collection of cookbooks, both in cast holding and in the library on stage, contestants can pull from for inspiration or useful info. I was selected for Season 4, but had to bail about 2 weeks before shooting because of my wife's pregnancy. The producers were very not happy with me. I guess I can answer about some of the audition stuff. The agreement you sign is pretty brutal in terms of their expectations and how little you get after the fact. Here is an AMA from one of the MasterChef Junior winners. He answers a lot of interesting stuff. All of the shooting for a week takes place in a day. They are made to change clothes so that it appears that it's a different day, but all cooking shooting is done in a day. Source: a distant relative in a local cooking show. I know a top chef contestant. She said she knows how to make the most basic version of a lot of different foods and knows what can be replaced. Not me, but my family is friends with Adern Liao, and he said something along the lines of improvising while doing it. Use what you got and be confident. My sister was on the show. Went to the set for a weekend with my family to film a few clips of us for the show. Our interviews never made it to the final cut, but I was in a lot of the crowd shots. 80% of it was filming reaction clips as a crowd. They'll say clap for a few minutes and you clap and smile. Or they'll say to mingle and you do so while trying to avoid glancing at the cameras sweeping from overhead. Never met Gordon Ramsay personally, but he and the other judges introduced themselves to all of the family members of the cast with the other judges in the big tent we waited in between shoots. Seems like a class act. Overall long, hot days, but it was an experience and really weird, cool to see my sister on TV. It was also interesting to see how they presented the cast members compared to how they are when you actually know them. How do they do the supposedly mid-session interviews where somebody is telling you how they feel mid-cook? They can't just pull them out of a cook. Do they fake how they felt after it's over? If it's over, then they must be acting very well to pretend they were in the process. Plus, how does the food cooling work? If it takes 20 minutes to go through the dishes, don't desserts melt, meat get cold, etc.? I have a friend who competed and made it several episodes in. The main thing he wanted us to know is that off camera, the producers are constantly trying to stir up drama and make people fight. If you're easygoing and don't want to badmouth people, you won't make it on screen, no matter how good you actually are at cooking. On the topic of MasterChef, I'd really recommend MasterChef Australia. I assume more people here are from the US, not seen much of it, but Australian MasterChef is so much better than our UK version. Subah. Spill the sauce. I'd love for this question to blow up, hope there are lots of responses. Former contestant here, not on the US show but one of the international ones. I was in for 6 weeks. The downtime sucked. All filming was done across 4-1-3-1-4-hour days in a week, so you spent the rest of the time sitting round doing nothing except research and recipe testing. All the timing is real, so a 60-minute challenge was actually 60 minutes. Once you've plated up, food can sit round for up to 4 hours before the judges taste it. To add to the poster's question, MasterChef kids, do they have someone that is helping them during the cooking process? My cousin was in Ireland's MasterChef. She was kicked off first round. She was really nervous and I can't remember if she said the judges were nice or rarely interacted with them, lol. But apart from the nervousness, she seemed to be happy that she even made it on the show. Not a contestant, but I met the New Zealand winner while I was waiting at a function she was hosting. She came back into the kitchen afterwards, did all her own dishes despite the fact that she could have just dumped them on us, and was extremely nice and friendly. I have no doubt the MasterChef Junior. The kids review recipes every night. There is no way they can think of something on the spot and make the whole dish within an hour. Did they find life from MasterChef to everyday adjustments okay? Did they make Weetabix, only to be met by a flashback, plating up to the judges, Gordon Ramsay's intense look into their eyes, glancing down at the Weetabix to one soul-piercing gaze, then slowly but surely with growing anger coming out of his lips as cold as a British storm, one single sharp whisper, pathetic. Only for the scene to fall away. Only left with their own harsh, silent reality of a barren dining table? We deserve answers. I tried out for this last season. I was one of over 600 people in my city. I was there from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Waited in a room with my pre-made food for hours. The chefs call you and you have a few minutes to plate and then they come around and try it. 3/20 made it past. The second round was with a producer. They ask you why you started cooking. The lady next to me said her husband killed 2 of her kids, so she wanted to be a better mom and cook. I didn't make it past that round, she did. What I really want to know is what happened to all the people from Food Network Star who were supposed to get V shows and just kind of disappeared. Won't get seen, but one of our friends won MasterChef UK. She now runs a great successful restaurant near us that we go to a lot and does TV appearances and lessons. Pretty well, I'd say, in the whole. How many former MasterChef contestants are there on Reddit? Actually, I'm curious if they get some compensation for the competition and time spent. Like some people can afford to take a few months off to pursue a dream for a 1/20th chance at a lot of money, but not many. Like, are you paid $500 or $1,000 per episode, because those would definitely be livable wages. If it's really an all or nothing, then it's a huge butt gamble. Dominican Republic MasterChef here. So to start off, the one participating was my mother. It was the 100 people thing, only 50 didn't pass. The event was done on the outside on a park. It was expected to rain, but it didn't, and the sun got offended and decided to go full shine on everyone. There were no carpets, no shadows, and the contestants all had to stay on their stations despite the blistering sun the whole afternoon. The presentation speech had to be done over 60 times because it was all made up on the spot by the guys at production, so the judges and presenter fumbled with the words and the whole thing lasted 2 hours. Then came the first countdown. When the presenter didn't mess up, it was because the contestants were not excited enough. That went for 20 minutes or so, and then goes the final countdown, which was redone 4 times. And then was the worst part. You know the guys who come up and taste the dishes? Yeah, those guys took another 2 hours. 2 hours. It would be fine if they hadn't made everyone leave their dishes out in the open, under the blistering sun, at 31 Celsius. The dishes that didn't go dry, melted off, or got overheated were the ones where the sun was tamest. Even then they didn't let anyone save their dish or move it from the work tables. I repeat, there were no carpets at all, only an old construction that started to give some shadow at the top tables at 5 p.m. By that point everything was beyond fresh, and all cold dishes have gotten warm. Mom lost sadly, best fluffin' lamb she ever made, but the one on the plate was barely edible by the time the tasters were there. And she had sunburns on her neck for some weeks. Also, the families of the contestants didn't have anywhere to sit on, so we had to sit down on a patch of grass. With the ants, disturbed ants, no one got bit as far as I know, but it was hell, and all because of a drone. There were no carpets because of a single drone. On the flip side, the guy who won the competition at the end only got like $600 and a year worth of gasoline, also other stuff I can't remember. Some seriously specific posts. Luca, where are you? We hired the winner of Hell's Kitchen, Season 4 to cater a major winery party, and it was an unmitigated disaster. She was woefully unqualified. To the point where we considered suing her for darnages. Serious? It's somewhat scripted. I know of several professional paid actors who were contestants. Farouk Tawhid is one. He used to be the host at MLG Halo events lol, and he was a contestant in I think Season 1. This already happened somewhere on this site, and it was pretty interesting. One thing I learned was that aesthetic plating wasn't part of the timer. Is MasterChef actually rigged though? It's not as stressful as they make it to be. A lot of it is just camera angles and good editing. I went to an audition in Los Angeles about 5 years ago. There was a lot waiting around. They bring you into a large banquet room with your dishes, and some dude bro comes around and tries to intimidate you by doing his best Gordon impression. I had made a Thanksgiving-style turkey burger with jalapeno cranberry relish, and Gouda with a brioche bun. I also served green bean poutine with fried green beans, a homemade button mushroom white gravy, Wisconsin cheese curds and French fried onions, basically an elevated green bean casserole. My plating looked great, and my flavors were on point. I was a little overweight at the time, but dressed cute in a flattering polka dot dress. I was personal and friendly. I didn't get chosen, and the bleach blonde toothpick with her tits hanging out, horrible plating of a massive burned pork chop and literally boxed rice underneath got picked over me. Because Hollywood. And #X200B, one good thing is that I won a signed copy of Luca's book, Season 4 winner. Funny you posted this today, as I just filled out the pre-audition paperwork today for next season.